In this help video, I'd like to look at using our DP or decision point tool in TradingView. First, let's add it to a chart. So if you go to your indicators, once we've released our scripts, they'll be in the invite only section of your scripts. If you click on invite only, they'll be in your invite only scripts there. So you'll just click on it and add it. But for now, because we haven't released it yet, I'm just doing it for my own scripts here. So you add it to a chart, and you can see this little box appears below here that is asking you to select a pivot. So what you have to do is either get this box out of the way. So I'm just going to close this particular box, and you can see here it says set the pivot time for your MTPredictor decision point. So you can just click on a pivot. You click on a pivot, and you can see it's there applied to your chart. Remember, these are leading indicators. They're there for anticipating future support and resistance areas. Once it's on the chart, it's really easy to move around, because can you see if I hover over it, can you see there's a little marker appears there? Do you see that where my cursor is? So what you can do is grab and drag that to different pivots. So for example here, you can grab and drag it to, say, this pivot. I'm just going to let go here, and you see how it recalculates. So here you can see how it's taken from this pivot and how it caught this high really nicely there in advance. Let's grab and drag it to another pivot. You can see here if I grab it there and I want to place perhaps a support off this low here, you can see there it is on the chart in advance. If I now want to do it from say that pivot high there it is giving you potential resistance. You see the market is getting up to that level there for you. If you want to add more than one on a chart, you can. So you can either select this and do copy, or you can just add a new one to a chart. So you can go back to your indicators, invite only scripts, and then you can click on decision point. Again, remove that box and now select the pivot time to use. So you just click on a pivot, and there you have two on the chart as well. Again, in this way you can move them around really easy by just grabbing and drag them, and then it changes where they're placed on the chart. If you look at the properties, you can see here you can select the pivot time as well. So say for example you come in the next day and these have been recalculated for a previous day. You can then just click on this and select which day it is. So for example here you can select for today, and you can select the time, whatever the time is at the moment. It doesn't really matter what time it is, because once you place it on the chart, there's the pivot point, and you can then grab it and then drag it to which pivot area you wish. In the properties as well, you have the opportunity to show just the typical, which is the one we tend to use most of the time, or you can do just the maximum, or you can do both, and obviously then the color of them. If I do both on this particular one, you can see it adds the typical and the maximum DP as well. For when to use these, you can attend our MTPredictor training webinars to see when it's applicable to use the maximum as opposed to the typical. But normally we just use the typical. So I'll just take that back to the typical. So as you can see, applying the DPs are really easy indeed, where you can literally just grab the marker or the guide one there. There it is there. Grab it, drag it to then recalculate to do highs and lows. Typically what we use the DP for is if you're doing future areas of support and resistance. So you can see this is a 15-minute chart of the ES. So what I'm going to do now is change time frames down to the 3-minute and see whether we actually had a trade set up here on the 3-minute. When you change time frames, the best thing to do is to draw a rectangle around the DP level, because then it will stay on that position on the chart. So you can say put a title in, if I can spell correctly, sorry about that. And then also what I suggest you do is lock that rectangle. So you can see there's the rectangle drawn over the area of where that DP is. So when you go down to the 3-minute chart, just let it recalculate. I'm just going to go back a bit to where it is, just recalculating. There you can see there's the where the 15-minute resistance was, and as you can see we had a short-term sell, i.e. the 3-minute sell on the 15-minute chart. You can see the DP wasn't quite in the right pivot place, so what you can do is then readjust it back to that high level there as well, and as you can see, it's then at the correct level as well. So you can grab and drag these DPs quite easily as well once you're actually on the current time frame. But that's what we tend to do, is we tend to use the DPs for higher time frame support and resistance, and then when we change time frame, we place a rectangle in the area where that DP is. So when we come down to the shorter time frame, we can see whether there's support or resistance on that shorter time frame, and as you can see, we're looking for trade setups that fall on the shorter time frame at the higher time frame support and resistance. But otherwise, being able to grab and drag these DPs around is really easy indeed. Just literally grab, drag, drop over a pivot, and as you can see, they recalculate straight away. So as I've shown you, you can either have one DP or you can have multiple DPs or multiple scripts on your chart at the same time if you want to have more than one DP on your chart at the same time. So a very easy and simple to use tool for anticipating future support and resistance zones.